When I opened my eyes to my rebirth, the first thing I did was pull the plug on my comatose husband lying in the hospital bed. What's the point of resuscitation? To revive him so he could keep his mistress, beat me, and drive me to suicide through depression? Who said you could pull that tube? My mother-in-law Margaret Maggie Wilson stormed into the hospital room. But she was too late. I'd already signed the DNR form and personally removed the oxygen tube from Jason Wilson's body. Jason had suffered a catastrophic car accident yesterday. Though initially revived, doctors declared him brain dead. Yet in my previous life, this despicable man miraculously woke up 6 months later, proving the old saying the wicked live long. Back then, I didn't know about his mistress Sophia Miller or that his fatal crash happened while buying her Valentine's gifts. Blinded by love, I'd bankrupted myself taking loans to save him, begging relatives for money, delivering homemade meals daily, massaging his limp limbs, talking to his unresponsive form, only to have Jason demand divorce upon waking. He claimed near-death enlightenment about life being too short, wanting to pursue true love. When I resisted, the beatings started. Between his violence and Sophia's taunts, I finally signed the papers. He'd promised to assume our medical debts, but reneged immediately after divorce. The house we'd lived in was under Maggie's name. As a chronic mama's boy, Jason's earnings went to his mother. I got nothing in the settlement. Creditors swarmed my parents' home, some debts co-signed by my father David Johnson. The harassment spiked my mother Linda Johnson's blood pressure into dangerous territory. My father's shame turned violent. He once lunged at Jason with a kitchen knife, landing in jail for 15 days instead. Within a year, depression drove me to leap from a rooftop. Now reborn on day 2 of Jason's coma, I watched his heart monitor flatline with grim satisfaction. Maggie collapsed in theatrical grief. My boy, how could you leave your mother alone? Her wails turned venomous as she lunged at me. I sidestepped smoothly. Emily Johnson, how dare you kill my son? You'll pay for this. Killed him? Weren't you the one who refused to contribute a dime for treatment? I countered coldly. All Jason's savings went to you. If anyone failed him, it's his own mother. Her face blanched. She'd assumed I'd grovel to relatives for loans again. Instead, I'd called her bluff. Leaving her spluttering, I headed home to dismantle everything, the furniture my parents bought, the renovations they funded. The house itself was Wilson property. But I'd be damned if they kept our investments. My parents were bewildered by my dry-eyed efficiency. How could their grieving daughter act so composed? I couldn't explain time travel, only begged their trust. This time, the Johnson family would emerge intact. The Wilsons' reckoning had only just begun. Insurance payouts, hidden assets, every cent Jason spent on Sophia, I'd audited all. Let the real parasites squirm when exposed. As for funeral arrangements, let Maggie handle her golden boy's corpse. I'd rather chew glass than mourn that bastard. The sweetest revenge was living well, and I intended to thrive magnificently. Recalling the humiliation my parents endured from the Wilson family in my past life, the hatred in my heart burned fiercer. Jason Wilson was just one of the culprits, along with Margaret Maggie Wilson and that homewrecker Sophia Miller. I wouldn't let any of them escape justice. Early next morning, Maggie started frantically calling me. After dozens of missed calls, I leisurely answered. Emily Johnson. You wretched woman. Are you dead? Maggie's shrill voice pierced through the receiver. The dead one is your son. If you recall. You. She sputtered with rage. Where are all the household items? Who destroyed the house? Was it you? That was Jason's and my home. Now that he's gone, I decide how to handle our belongings. You have no say. The house is in my name. It's my property. You ungrateful bitch. Don't forget I let you live there out of charity. Maggie declared self-righteously. I nearly laughed at her audacity. While she'd technically bought the house, half the funds came from Jason's earnings during our relationship. Though legally his money wasn't mine. Maggie had used the property purchase as an excuse to skip the wedding dowry. My parents, wanting only my happiness, had not only waived the traditional bride price but even paid for renovations. Back then, Maggie had sworn this would be our forever home, hers in name only, with full usage rights granted to us. How naive I'd been. Blinded by love for that spineless mama's boy. I steadied my breathing. These people weren't worth damaging my mental health over. Keep your cursed house then. May you rot in it alone? I said coldly. Let her cling to empty possessions with no heirs to inherit them, the ultimate poetic justice. How dare you curse me? Maggie shrieked. Ignoring her, I continued, but the renovations and furnishings were my family's investment. Taking them back is only fair. You heartless whore. I sheltered you in my home and this is how you repay me after my son's death? May lightning strike you. The lightning already struck where it should. I retorted. Are you saying my son deserved to die? Didn't you? Mark my words. Emily. You'll pay for this. The line went dead. I smirked at my phone. Bring it on. That afternoon, while I was texting insurance agents about Jason's accident compensation, minimal due to his drunk driving, my parents gasped at the local news broadcast. There was Maggie. Crocodile tears streaming. Being interviewed under the headline, Heartless Widow Abandons Dying Husband. Loots Marital Home. My son died because his wife refused medical treatment to save money. Maggie wailed to reporters. Now she won't even arrange his funeral. She stole everything from our family home. The journalist asked. What would you like us to do? Make that gold digger return my property and honor my son properly. As they spoke, our phones simultaneously erupted, mine and both my parents. My mom, Linda Johnson, said, It's not what you all think. How could our Emmy ever do such a thing? This is all a misunderstanding. My dad, David Johnson, slammed his fist on the table. You all know what kind of person Emmy is. This is clearly the Wilson family trying to smear her reputation. If anyone dares speak ill of Emmy again, don't expect us to acknowledge you as family. Margaret Wilson's TV stunt had clearly backfired spectacularly. Though I didn't need to check social media to know my name was being dragged through mud citywide. How bitterly ironic, in my past life, the Wilson family had destroyed my marriage and driven my family to ruin with their debts. Now they wanted to cancel me through trial by media? Did that old hag really think karma wouldn't come knocking? When the news station's third call came through, I answered, This is Emily. M.S. Johnson. We're from Channel 6 News. Your mother-in-law. I saw the live broadcast. I'll be at Jason's memorial service shortly. I hung up before they could respond. If the Wilson family wanted a show, I'd give them a performance they'd never forget. As I grabbed my coat, my parents exchanged worried looks. Are you sure about this, sweetheart? Mom fretted. Even a blind man could see this was a trap, with the Wilson family's smear campaign in full swing. Walking into that lion's den meant public humiliation. I've got this, I reassured them. My father moved to join me, but I stopped him. The cameras will keep things civil. Just watch from home, I promise you'll like the finale. The last thing I needed was Dad's temper flaring up or Mom's blood pressure spiking if things got heated. The hallway neighbors scattered like roaches when I emerged. Two busybody retirees whispered loudly enough for me to hear, There goes that cold-hearted shrew. Fancy educated folks raising such an ungrateful brat. More like a wolf in sheep's clothing. I clenched my teeth. This was exactly why my polite, principled parents had been easy prey for the Wilson family's schemes. No matter, the truth would burn through these lies soon enough. The memorial hall buzzed with morbid curiosity when I arrived. Distant relatives and rubberneckers alike turned as I entered, their whispers swelling into a chorus of condemnation. How dare she show her face here? Jason would still be alive if not for her. After 3 childless years, Maggie still treated her like a daughter. This is how she repays them? I scanned the crowd until I found her, Sophia Miller, Jason's mistress and co-worker. The homewrecker flinched when our eyes met. A far cry from the smug harpy who'd later barge into my home calling me a barren hen. Our infertility issues had never been my fault. The doctors said Jason's low sperm count made natural conception nearly impossible. But Maggie refused IVF treatment, claiming test tube babies were unnatural. Turns out her precious son just needed more motivated practice. Sophia's baby bump during the funeral had made that abundantly clear. Before I could stop myself, I marched across the room and slapped Sophia hard across the face. The crisp smack silenced the entire hall. Emily Johnson slapped Sophia Miller hard across the face. The other mourners in the memorial hall, mostly Jason Wilson's colleagues, stared in stunned silence. "What do you think you're doing?" Maggie Wilson shielded Sophia with her body, her voice trembling with rage. Jason had always been a mama's boy who told Maggie everything, which meant she'd known about his affair all along. In fact, she'd encouraged it, claiming real men should have side pieces and that knocking up another woman proved her son's virility. "Does it matter?" Emily sneered. "Since when do we need appointments to beat up homewreckers? How dare you?" Maggie's shrill voice echoed through the chapel. "My son's body isn't even cold yet and you're already slandering him? Have you no shame, Emily?" The grieving mother's outburst reignited the crowd's hostility. Voices rose in condemnation. "Can't you show basic decency at your own husband's funeral? You're supposed to be here repenting, not causing scenes. Who raised such a disgrace? Were you raised by wolves?" Local news crews swarmed toward the commotion. Emily noted their cameras with grim satisfaction. The footage would prove invaluable later. "Mrs. Wilson." A reporter shoved a microphone in her face. "Don't you find your behavior inappropriate? Your husband just died. Yet you're causing disturbances instead of mourning." "Not at all." Emily stared directly into the camera lens. "You heartless bitch," Maggie wailed with theatrical despair. "What did my poor Jason ever see in you? My baby died so horribly, so unfairly." As the crowd rushed to comfort Maggie and curse Emily, Sophia stood trembling with crocodile tears. The reporter remained analytical. "Is there some misunderstanding between you and your in-laws?" "No misunderstanding. Just facts." Emily turned like a prosecutor addressing the jury. "Jason Wilson cheated on me with that woman." Her finger stabbed toward Sophia. "Lies." Sophia's voice quivered. "We were just co-workers. How could you dash? Then explain the car crash that killed him." Emily cut in. "The one that happened when he was rushing to your prenatal appointment." Sophia paled but maintained the wounded act. "This is slander." Jason's department manager intervened. "As their supervisor, I can confirm there was nothing inappropriate between them." Emily snorted. "How would you know? Were you their third wheel in hotel rooms?" The manager flushed. "You need proof for these accusations." "Oh, I have proof." Emily watched Sophia's knees buckle. Like the phone records showing their 2-year affair and plans to elope after Sophia's accident. She produced Jason's iPhone. "Let's have the news team read their sexting history aloud." As the reporter scrolled through damning messages, Sophia's porcelain complexion turned corpse gray. The crowd's angry murmurs shifted to shocked gasps. Emily's knuckles whitened around the phone. This smoking gun had cost her a lifetime to obtain. She quickly took the phone and looked through the chat records. Her expression visibly changed. After reading for a moment, she urgently called the cameraman. "Come. Film this immediately." "Film what? Film what?" Maggie Wilson erupted in anger. She knew better than anyone about Jason Wilson and Sophia Miller's relationship. Once recorded, her son's affair would become national news. I grabbed the phone before Maggie could snatch it. Maggie glared at me. "Emily Johnson. Give me back my son's phone." "So Mom, you knew about Jason's affair?" I said sarcastically. I know nothing. Absolutely nothing. The chat records between Jason and Sophia clearly state you approved of this, claiming you particularly liked her and disliked me. I exposed her lie. I never did that. The reporters saw this too, right? I asked the journalist. We did. The journalist nodded. Maggie flushed crimson before suddenly exploding. "Get out. All of you leave. I don't need your help anymore. Get out now." "We can't leave yet," I countered. "The best part hasn't even started." "Mom, since you want our family shame publicized, I'll help you do it properly." "Emily, you bitch." My son's dead and now you want me dead too? I'll kill you. Maggie lunged at me. Mom. The cameras are rolling. I warned calmly. Assault would mean criminal charges and jail time. Maggie turned to relatives. Help me drive her out. I can't stand looking at her. How cruel. I observed. Afraid to commit crimes yourself. You'd make relatives do it? Truly vicious. The hesitant relatives immediately backed off. Some now glaring at Maggie with resentment. I didn't mean, Maggie tried to explain. Cutting her off. I asked bluntly, do you know how Jason really died? You killed him by refusing resuscitation. Maggie accused. Jason died rushing to buy Sophia's Valentine's gift while talking to her on the phone. Her distraction made him run a red light into that truck. I showed Maggie the phone records. Here's their final conversation and the timestamp matching his crash. Maggie's face paled as she read. Whirling on Sophia. She screamed, you gold-digging whore. Give me back my son. She attacked Sophia, grabbing her hair as chaos erupted. The TV crew kept filming relentlessly. He insisted on buying gifts. I never forced him. Sophia blurted defensively, publicly admitting the affair. Her supervisor nearby turned livid with humiliation. Maggie raged, how dare you speak like that when my son's dead? Why blame me? Blame Emily for not saving him. Sophia redirected venomously. She probably let him die out of jealousy. How heartless. The crowd split between older critics muttering she should have saved him regardless and younger voices countering why expect the wife to rescue her cheating husband. Facing Maggie calmly. I stated, as I said before Mom. You're the one who refused Jason's resuscitation, not me. Jason is my only son. How could I possibly, at that time? The doctor said the emergency treatment might cost hundreds of thousands. And even if he survived, he'd likely be in a vegetative state. Your exact words were, I don't have the money. I interrupted Margaret Wilson. If you didn't have money, why would I? You must have money. You were married to Jason for 3 years. How could you not have savings? Even if you didn't, why didn't you borrow some? Maggie retorted shamelessly. For 3 years of marriage. If Jason had ever given me a single cent, I might have some savings. I raised my voice. All his money went to you or was spent on Sophia Miller. What right do you have to tell me to borrow money? If you had funds, why didn't you use them to save Jason? Nonsense. You're making all this up. Maggie's face flushed crimson. I have proof. I smiled coldly. Having prepared thoroughly in this second chance at life, I calmly produced documents from my folder. These are Jason's bank statements from the past 3 years. With a monthly salary of nearly $20. 000. He immediately transferred 60%, $12. 000 to you every payday. The remaining 40%? About $5. 000 went to Sophia's expenses. Maybe $3. 000 covered household costs. But realistically less than $1. 000 on average. The remaining $2. 000 went to his personal grooming. After all, I sneered. Working at that big company required maintaining his image. Maggie stared at the damning paper trail. Speechless. As for me, I continued, producing my meticulous expense records. My $5. 000 monthly salary went entirely to our household. I never bought clothes over $50. While Jason would drop more than that on a single candlelit dinner with Sophia. The TV crew's cameras whirred excitedly as the narrative spectacularly unraveled. So Maggie? I pressed. Jason's been working 7-8 years. Giving you over $100. 000 annually. You must have at least $1 million saved. Why not use that to save your son? That money went to your house. I paid full price for your marital home. Maggie blustered. We've been married 3 years since then. Even accounting for mortgage payments. You should have saved hundreds of thousands. I borrowed from relatives. Really? I turned to the gathered Wilson family relatives. Who here loaned Maggie money? Silence. Maggie panicked. unprepared for her formerly docile daughter-in-law's transformation. Fine. I have some savings, she finally admitted. But I never refused to pay for Jason's treatment. He's my only child. Emily. Why are you framing me? Predictable. I smirked, playing the hospital surveillance footage. Maggie's shrill voice echoed, $200,000 for treatment with no survival guarantee? Even if he lives, he'll be a vegetable? The doctor's weary reply, I'm just outlining possibilities. Well, I don't have money. Maggie's recorded voice snapped. I'm retired with a $2,000 pension. Emily. You're his wife, you decide. Gasps erupted. Unbelievable. Prioritizing money over her dying son. She wanted the daughter-in-law buried in debt while she hoards Jason's earnings. How dare she call the news crew when she's the shameful one? Maggie turned puce under the onslaught. My satisfaction was immense but incomplete. My previous life's suffering demanded more. Regarding today's spectacle, I continued calmly. I'll clarify why I reclaimed possessions and damaged the home. My anger stems from Jason's affair with Sophia and Maggie's endorsement of it. With Jason gone, I want what's rightfully mine and to sever ties with the Wilsons. All appliances and renovations came from the Johnson family. The house under Maggie's name stays. But I'm taking our contributions. Let's address Maggie's favorite boast, how she didn't spend a dime because she bought the house outright. Many here witnessed her gloating about getting a free daughter-in-law with dowry included. A relative chimed in, she mocked me for paying my daughter-in-law's $50,000 bride price. Thank God I didn't follow her example, this karma would be mine. Shut your mouth. Maggie lunged, only to be shoved back by the relative's husband. The scene descended into chaos. Maggie's unraveling complete. Yet this was merely the first act of retribution. My rebirth granted me patience and an arsenal of evidence. The Wilsons would learn the cost of their greed. The man shoved Mrs. Wilson forcefully, making her stumble back several steps. Sophia's husband growled threateningly. Touch her again and I'll end you. You. Mrs. Wilson cowered in fear. I said your son's death is your fault, not just Jason. But your husband too. A cursed woman like you will die alone with nobody to mourn. Sophia's husband spat venomously. Mrs. Wilson trembled with rage, her face contorting grotesquely before she erupted in hysterical, ear-splitting wails. You're all bullying a helpless old widow. May you all die horrible deaths. She shrieked, her undignified tantrum drawing disgusted stares from the crowd. Any lingering sympathy had evaporated. Another clarification, I stated coldly, ignoring the spectacle. The reason Jason and I had no children was his infertility. Not me. Here's the medical report confirming his oligospermia. I produced the document. Enough. Emmy. Stop this madness. Do you want to disgrace Jason's memory? Mrs. Wilson lunged at me like a rabid animal. Disgrace? That bastard didn't deserve peaceful rest. We planned IVF initially. But Maggie here refused to pay for treatment. Just get pregnant naturally, she said. Now her son's dead with no heir. Murmurs of condemnation rippled through the crowd. Serves them right. Penny pinching led to this. Karma's a bitch. Exactly what they deserved. Mrs. Wilson screamed over the jeers. Shut up. All of you shut up. The crowd ignored her. So did I. I'm not here to mourn Jason, he died saving his mistress Sophia. I'm no saint. Nor am I here just to clear my name. There's unfinished business. I leveled my gaze at Maggie and Sophia. Don't blame me for settling accounts now. I'd planned to wait. But since you're in such a hurry. Before they could respond, the crowd erupted. Settle it. We've got your back. Emmy. Tell us everything. We'll ensure justice. Don't let these witches bully you. The reporter beside me excitedly added. We're live on national TV and streaming platforms. Millions are watching, they all support you. Need legal aid? We'll arrange lawyers immediately. Yes. I answered without hesitation. As the reporter summoned attorneys. I noted how the media presence worked in my favor. Maggie panicked, screeching, "Get out. If you're cutting ties with Jason, leave. I disown you." After settling accounts, I replied calmly, "There's nothing to settle. Consider the smashed items my loss." She feigned magnanimity. The crowd became my voice. "You shameless hag." Emmy already explained, her parents paid for those renovations. I let her live rent-free for years. Maggie countered. "Emmy married your son without dowry while funding your family. You denied them a home yet dare claim charity? Unbelievable." The jeers intensified. "Stay out of family matters." Maggie howled. "We don't care about your drama, but we stand with Emmy." The unified support surprised me, though I'd anticipated Maggie and Sophia's downfall. This overwhelming solidarity was unexpected. In my previous life, I'd faced nothing but scorn and debt collectors. The same victim now found armies of champions. Even at the moment when I almost jumped to my death, I truly felt no attachments. But being supported by so many people now, I have to admit I'm deeply moved. My eyes are bloodshot and my nose burns with unshed tears. I bite my lip hard, struggling to maintain composure. Fortunately, the TV station's legal team arrives promptly. Regaining control, I declare loudly to the crowd, after 3 years of marriage to Jason Wilson, under marital property laws, all earnings during our union should be jointly owned. As everyone just witnessed, Jason funneled most funds to his mother and mistress. Turning to the attorney, I ask, "Can I reclaim these funds?" The lawyer confirms, post-nuptial earnings are indeed marital assets. Transfers made without spousal consent can be legally recovered, provided there's documentation. I have proof. I produced Jason's transaction records. These show 3 years of transfers to them. After reviewing, the attorney nods. This constitutes valid evidence for restitution. Then, I address Margaret Wilson. Jason transferred approximately $430,000 to you. I demand full repayment within 3 days. Bullshit. My son's money is mine. Maggie shrieks. What right do you have? Legally, marital assets are jointly held. The attorney explains. Laws don't matter. My son's belongings are mine forever. She retorts, cutting through her tirade. I ask, can I file lawsuits? Absolutely. The lawyer affirms. Including the $120,000 Jason gave homewrecker Sophia Miller? Without question. Facing Maggie and Sophia, I issue my ultimatum, 3 days for repayment. Or we meet in court. You think I fear your lawsuit? You bitch? Maggie sputters. Sophia protests, Jason gave me that money willingly. Lawful justice demands repayment. I counter firmly. Sophia flushes crimson. As I depart, relatives call out, Emily. We'll support you in court. Others join, will witness their legal comeuppance. Thank you. I murmur. Genuinely touched by this unexpected solidarity. Once burned by betrayal, kindness feels particularly precious. Exiting the memorial hall, a reporter stops me. Our station offers ongoing pro bono legal support. Contact us for litigation needs. Agreed. I respond. Aware this mutual benefit exposes the guilty while costing me nothing. Arriving home, I find elderly neighbors waiting, the same ones who earlier slandered me. Emily. We apologize. One grandma says sheepishly. We were fooled by that poisonous mother-in-law of yours. They thrust a fruit basket at me before scurrying off, shouting, we're on your side. I bear no grudge. Most follow the herd. My true adversaries remain Maggie and Sophia. Inside, my parents, David and Linda Johnson, await with tear-reddened eyes. They've clearly watched the broadcast. Their anguish palpable. Emmy. I never imagined you suffered so much with the Wilson family. My mother Linda Johnson hugged me, weeping uncontrollably. My father David Johnson stood nearby with red-rimmed eyes. It's all right now. Everything's settled. I comforted them. My daughter's always been clever and strong, Dad said with uncharacteristic pride. His normally reserved nature overcome by emotion. Otherwise we'd still be trapped under Margaret Wilson's thumb. The thought makes my blood boil. My heart ached. In my previous life, the Wilson family had driven me to suicide. I couldn't bear imagining how my parents coped after my death. Thank God this timeline changed everything. 3 days later, when neither Maggie Wilson nor Sophia Miller returned the money, I didn't bother reminding them. I contacted the news station and prepared for trial. 2 months later in court, the physical transformation of Maggie and Sophia shocked me. The formerly plump Maggie had lost nearly 30 pounds. Her face gaunt and unrecognizable. Sophia's trademark polished appearance had deteriorated into sallow skin and lifeless eyes without makeup. I smirked. The cyberbullying and public shaming had clearly taken their toll. I knew that particular hell intimately. The courtroom overflowed with supportive relatives and friends, while countless online supporters awaited updates. My attorney argued fiercely until the judge ruled, Sophia must repay the $12.165 Jason spent on her, while Maggie forfeited 80% of the $34.216 life insurance payout after funeral expenses. As Jason's widow, I received half the remaining $38,000 insurance payout immediately, splitting the remainder with Maggie. Final calculations showed Maggie owed me $21,670.80. Leaving court, I breathed freely for the first time. This chapter of vengeance concluded here. Jason's death settled our accounts. I reclaimed every cent, restored my reputation, and regained my right to pursue happiness. Maggie's true punishment was just beginning. Widowed and childless after losing her only son, public contempt left her isolated despite her remaining assets. Later I heard she fell victim to smooth-talking supplement salesmen who called her mom while draining her savings. When the scammers vanished, her public breakdowns led to psychiatric hospitalization. Eventually, she disappeared into the system. Sophia fared worse. Fired for ethical violations, she became a social pariah, receiving death threats and disturbing packages. The scandal ensured lifelong isolation. Reports said she became a recluse, mirroring my previous life's downward spiral into suicide. Not my concern anymore. Sophia's fate was her own making. My new life was just beginning.